So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I'm sure people are joining in from all across the globe, and I welcome you all to this session, which is about, as the banner says, Crypto Philanthropy 101. So we'll be talking about a lot of things, right from basic to advanced, all of it to get you all started, to get your nonprofit organization started on crypto fundraising. Thanks a lot for taking out time again. And with this, I also want to introduce Tina, who would be leading this workshop today. So welcome, Tina, and thanks a lot for taking out time for this workshop. To quickly introduce Tina, so she's the co-founder and COO at Every.org. Every.org is a non-profit for non-profits, and they're building an accessible giving infrastructure for people and organizations to use to enable them to use technology for good. Tina has a BS in computer science from Stanford University, and she has also worked as a software engineer in her previous experiences, and specifically on cutting edge technologies like blockchain. So that's quickly about Tina. Tina, welcome again to the session, and anything more that you want to add that I might have missed?
No, that was a great intro. Thank you so much.
All right, let's get started. And I'm sure the audience, and I personally cannot wait to hear more from you, Tina, on this topic. But I just take a couple of minutes to introduce Goodera to everyone. A lot of partners in our attendees are actually not a lot of participants in the attendees are actually our partners. But for those who are not, just wanted to quickly introduce Goodera and also set some context on why are we doing this session today. So quickly to tell you a bit more about Goodera. So we call ourselves the Airbnb of volunteering. What we do here at Goodera is we try to form meaningful connections between corporate volunteers all across the globe to nonprofits who need support, who need volunteering support to further their cause. So that's what we do. And the statistics will tell you about our impact over the few years. So we are working with 200 plus corporate clients across the globe. 50 out of these are actually in Fortune 500. We have supported 10 million plus beneficiaries so far. We have nonprofit partners in over 100 plus countries, and I'll talk more about this in a bit. We are co-headquartered in San Francisco and in Bangalore, and we are funded by marquee investors, as you can see. So this is just quickly a sum of very few of our nonprofit partners. Like I said, 100 plus countries, and you can see, I'm sure you'd be able to recognize some organizations out of this list. So right from gender equity to racial equity to environment to several other causes, there's a wide variety of causes that we cater to, a wide variety of causes that our non-profit partners are working towards from all across the globe. And I just want to quickly also touch upon how we at Goodera are creating impact for our nonprofit partners, and it's primarily through 4 ways. So one is, I've already talked about it enough, it's volunteers, so helping them map with the right volunteers who are truly passionate about their cause. So for example, here you can see some great illustrations that a few of our volunteers created for our nonprofit partners. These illustrations, the nonprofits will use them on their website or on social media to talk about what they are doing. The second thing is marketing and promotion. So just amplifying the cause of our nonprofit partners by writing about them, by talking about them on social media and several other channels. So we constantly, every month, we will write blogs on various platforms like Forbes, Thrive Global, and many others to highlight the nonprofit partners and the great work that they are doing, and also the great leaders that are driving these organizations. So as you can see, we do a lot of interviews with our nonprofit leaders, and that's how we learn as an organization. And also this helps us support our nonprofit partners better. The third thing we do, which is a very again a very impactful way that we support our nonprofit partners, is through helping them get access to these corporate matching gifts programs. So a lot of companies that we work with, they have matching gifts programs through which they donate a certain amount to the charities for every volunteering hour contributed from their employees. And this ranges from say $5 volunteering hour to $25 or $30 per volunteering hour for bigger, more generous companies. And the fourth and the last thing is through our community. So we have a Karma community for nonprofit partners. And through this community, we keep sharing a lot of great resources around crypto philanthropy, for example, and also social media strategy, fundraising strategy, and a lot of other actionable, tangible resources for our nonprofit partners. And also, just like this session, we organize a lot of knowledge sharing sessions from experts, by experts for this community. So if you are not a part of this community already, do scan this code or just search for Karma Community Goodera in your on Facebook and join the group to start using these great resources that we share. So with this, I want to hand over to Tina to take this webinar forward. Tina, over to you.
Hi, thank you so much for that information. And yeah, thank you so much for Goodera for inviting me here today. Really excited to talk about cryptocurrency and just like share, from a high level, what cryptocurrency is, as well as what you and your nonprofit needs to understand about cryptocurrency to benefit from it. And just as a high level, this introduction is going to try to take it from a very high level, and then I'm going to leave plenty of time for questions at the end. So if you have any questions, please feel free to jot it down on the chat. My colleague Francesca is also here, and she'll try to chime in whenever possible. Otherwise, we'll answer questions and discuss all your questions about cryptocurrency toward the end. But yes, my name is Tina Roh, and today we are going to be talking about what your nonprofit needs to know about cryptocurrency. So the answers that you'll get out of this webinar is 1, why should nonprofits care about crypto? 2, what exactly is cryptocurrency? 3, which nonprofits can benefit from cryptocurrency? 4, what are the risks and consideration? And just so that you're aware, I'll be kind of coming at this from a US 501c3 public charity perspective. Regulations are very different around the world, so I just wanted to point that out. And number 5, how can your nonprofit receive crypto support easily and freely? So let's just dive into it. 1, why should nonprofits care about crypto? You may have been seeing on the news that cryptocurrency donations are at an all-time high. I think the last number that I saw for Ukraine was $54 million. So these slides kind of refer just toward the previous sort of experience, but to give you a sense of how massive the wealth accumulation in crypto has been, here are some numbers from the top. 12 people on the Forbes billionaire list made a majority of their wealth from crypto, up from 4 last year or in the previous year, 2020. And there are also around 100,000 Bitcoin millionaires. And Bitcoin is just one of the many cryptocurrencies out there. But this isn't just limited to wealthy millionaires and billionaires. Everyday people also own cryptocurrency. New data from Gemini survey of investors and crypto curious consumers in the United States demonstrates that an increasingly mainstream consumer base is engaging with cryptocurrency. So 21 million or 14% of adults in the US own crypto. And Fidelity Charitable also conducted a study to see that they are very charitable. Nearly half donated $1,000 or more to charity in 2020 versus 1/3 of all investors. And the remaining people who don't have cryptocurrency today are very crypto curious. The demographic of this group tends to lean quite young, 25 to 44 years old. And every year there are tons of new crypto holders. So hard numbers are difficult to come by regarding how much cryptocurrency is donated every single year. But as I mentioned already, in 2022, 54 million has been donated. In 2019, it was around 200 million. In 2021, 1 billion plus has been donated to nonprofits. And the short of it is that it's becoming more and more relevant And nonprofits that can't accept crypto donations may be losing out on potential support, especially given that donors are looking for a way to donate their newly found wealth in a tax advantage ways. And the short of it with that, in the US, crypto is similar to stock donations in that donating it is a non-taxable event. So a donor may be able to donate more than they can if they first sell and then donate the net proceeds in cash. We could talk more about that too. And just so you know, I am not a financial advisor. This is for informational purposes only. So please talk to your financial advisors beforehand. So essentially, more and more people are donating crypto every year. And not only are there individuals, there's a lot of cool crypto projects and groups that want to do good with crypto too. So one small example is Karma Coin, a Ohio-based cryptocurrency, and baked into their way is a way to donate a portion of their proceeds from transaction fees to charities. And since I've posted this, I think they've donated over 220,000 to charity. And this is just one small group. And they usually donate to a variety of smaller to medium-sized nonprofits ever since they've discovered that through every.org, they can contribute to many, many charities. So that's like a quick overview. And you might be thinking, okay, that sounds good. My organization has 5 people and we don't know whether we have enough time to learn about this or benefit from this. And fair enough, you're not alone. Traditionally, only a small number of nonprofits have accepted crypto due to those technical and operational barriers, namely larger organizations such as Red Cross and United Way. However, I'm here to tell you that in 2022, there's so much infrastructure that is being built around crypto. It's a lot easier for your nonprofit to benefit. So the good news is that your nonprofit does not have to be technical to benefit from crypto. You don't need a huge development team to figure this out. In fact, there are resources like every.org. So over 1 million nonprofits can already accept crypto support with every.org. And there are, of course, many ways of accepting crypto donations and implications of each method, which I will cover shortly. But before diving into all of the details that may feel overwhelming, I just wanted to share that, every.org, which is the nonprofit that I work with, has a completely free way for nonprofits to use, and we don't take any cut of the donations. Similar to donor advised funds, every.org enables crypto donations support for any 501c3 public charity in good standing with the IRS. What this means in practice is that both small and large organizations can and do already benefit from cryptocurrency without even doing any extra work. And so, in fact, going back to Karma Coin, I just wanted to share some of the organizations that have benefited from crypto already, using them as an example. Back in April 2021, they started supporting larger crypto-enabled organizations such as No Kid Hungry or Fred Hutch, who you might have have revenues of millions and hundreds of millions of dollars. But they started supporting smaller organizations such as Working Dogs for Vets that have an annual revenue of $300,000, or Joyride Cars that have an annual revenue of around $100,000 through every.org. So let's go into some of the technicals. And before you shy away, I just wanted to tell you that in order to benefit from cryptocurrency, you don't have to know all of the ins and outs of it. So I'm willing to engage with you in the Q&A about all of the details. I might not go into all of the details here. So I'm going to try to keep it fairly high level, but please remember to jot down any questions that you have for the Q&A in the chat. All right, so I think cryptocurrency is best explained in comparison to traditional money, which is fiat currency. So first, let's clear up what is a currency. It is a medium of exchange which has some unit of account, like a dollar, and it can store value over a long period of time. And cryptocurrency is a digital currency that has all of these features similar to a dollar. So I think cryptocurrency shines when it comes to transactions. So let's say that there is Amy who wants to send money to Bob in another state. So usually she would have to go through a bank that records the transactions in the bank's ledger and then sends it to Bob's bank. And because banks are trusted by Amy and Bob, and the banks trust each other, they're regulated by a central bank, everyone agrees that now the money is Bob's. And traditionally, this takes about 3 to 5 business days. And this money is issued by the government and is backed by the government. And unlike in the past, most currencies today are not gold backed. It's typically the valuation is coming from that regulation from the government. So on the other hand, cryptocurrency is a digital currency that's generated by code. And typically, because there's a limited amount, there is a scarcity that creates the value. But essentially, people have to trust in its value for it to be worth anything. Today in 2022, there are a lot of cryptocurrency exchanges that help keep that value up because you can fairly easily trade a cryptocurrency unit into fiat currency and vice versa. There is no central issuing authority or regulatory body like the federal bank, and instead, a network of computers maintains these ledgers across many, many computers. So the ledger is called a blockchain, and it records every transaction that has ever happened in that currency. And due to its distributed nature and the consensus algorithm that works in the background, everyone could trust that this transaction happened. So if we go back to Amy, who wants to send money to Bob in another state, she would get Bob's wallet's public key and address, and then she'll use her public or private key to sign it and send it out from her wallet. And these are digital wallets that are online. And she is relying on cryptography that guarantees mathematically that the transaction is really coming from her. So that's all to say this is peer-to-peer transaction, no bank involved. So I think in practice, cryptocurrency has been taking minutes to fulfill a transaction, but the dream is that it could be fulfilled in seconds, 2 minutes versus the days with intermediaries along the way. There's going to be so many things that we can dive in here, but I think that's like a really high level overview of what cryptocurrency means. And you could delve into this. I really like Investopedia, and there's a lot of resources now online with YouTube videos that explain what cryptocurrency is in more detail if you're interested. So another thing is that thousands and thousands of cryptocurrencies exist today, and technically anyone can make one. So I think the difficulty is usually which cryptocurrencies actually have value. And Bitcoin and Ethereum are the top ones. Bitcoin was the very first one. Ethereum is the basis for a lot of other coins or cryptocurrencies. With the current global market cap totaling 1.7 trillion as of last night. And I want to say that this market cap fluctuates immensely. So back at the beginning of March, which was, just over a week ago, it was 1.9 trillion and it has been dropping. But all of last year, it's been a constant up and down. So if you follow the crypto market, it is very, very volatile. Now, that is one of the risks, and I want to discuss these risks and considerations of accepting crypto donations directly. And I want to frame this from the perspective of a nonprofit. And once again, I'm saying this for informational purposes only, so you should consult your legal or financial advisors for the latest and most accurate information. So there are so many ways to accept cryptocurrency today, and the risks go up depending on the method you use to accept cryptocurrency. So as a nonprofit, you want to see how much resources you have to dedicate and what you want to do with that cryptocurrency. Do you just want to benefit from it from a donations perspective where it's just another vehicle that people could donate to you in, or do you want to invest in cryptocurrency? And so if you want to sort of go your do-it-yourself option, you have someone technical on staff, and and you want to have complete control over your crypto portfolio, then you could use your own crypto wallet. And there's a lot of things to consider within that too. I would consider this the most risky in that you are left to handle all of the receipting, the transaction history, the internal security controls all by yourself. And make sure that you store the key that I mentioned, like the private key in your wallet, to your wallet somewhere secure with proper access controls, because millions of dollars have been lost in cryptocurrency because someone forgot their password. And they're unlike centralized services where you could click a forgot password. Some wallets won't have that option because it's kind of non-custodial and it's all for your own. So just saying that is the most risky option, and you should know what you're doing if you want to go this option. The next option is to use a crypto brokerage or an exchange that allows you to convert cryptocurrency easily. So something like Coinbase or Gemini, and this allows you to get the low fees, but you are still left to kind of handle the donor support, the receipting, the transaction history, but you get a lot more support. It's fairly easy to set up too. So if lowest fees are extremely important to you and you still want to retain control of your crypto, this might be a good option. And then next you have the intermediary payments processors. So these are often nonprofit specialized platforms such as the Giving Block or InGiven, who handle the transactions, the conversion to cash, and the receipting. Most of these are built on top of crypto brokerages or exchanges that I've mentioned before. So they're just adding another layer that allows you to benefit from some of those nonprofit specific perspectives. However, they charge a higher fee, of course, and there is a more in-depth onboarding. And what I consider the least risky option is through a intermediary 501c3, such as a donor advised fund or an every.org. So the intermediary 501c3 allows you to mitigate a lot of the legal and operational risks that you have for crypto. And these are the risks and considerations I'm about to share. And this might be the best option for smaller organizations that just want to dip their toes into crypto, or they have conservative board members that just don't want to take on the risk themselves. And just as Fidelity Charitable already accepts crypto, every.org allows any public charity to benefit from crypto. So let's go into the risks. The number one risk is that cryptocurrency is extremely volatile. So if your organization wants to accept cryptocurrency directly, it'll be extremely important for you to have a policy for cryptocurrency assets that covers whether to liquidate it immediately or to hold. And if you do hold, you want to have guidelines that specifically state which cryptocurrencies you will hold on to long-term, when you would liquidate, and it could be different depending on the perceived stability of the coin. Personally, every.org does not hold on to any cryptocurrency because of the volatility. And most nonprofits, I think, kind of take the approach of just using it as a donation vehicle and don't really invest into it. So if you want to invest into it, you really, really want to have a policy in place. And all intermediaries help out with the volatility by minimizing the amount of time until it gets sold. So auto conversion into cash. So you want to make sure that window is as narrow as possible so that it's not fluctuating as much. And then the next risk is that regulations are in flux. So the SEC and regulators are still trying to decide how to deal with crypto across many areas. Regulators are trying to learn about crypto. And even among institutions and brokerages, there are varying levels of risk tolerance at which cryptocurrencies are accepted. So your nonprofit and board may consider exercising fiduciary responsibility difficult given the uncertainties, especially if you're holding on to the cryptocurrencies as an asset. So just make sure that you're working with legal counsel that understands cryptocurrency and the changing atmosphere. And the next thing is that operationally, it's a new area. So things like accounting guidelines are still unclear. It's a new area, so things are not set in stone. So for instance, the financial board has yet to directly address cryptocurrency in the GAAP practices. So we're kind of going through common guidance from the big accounting firms based on what exists today. And accounting firms, for instance, say to treat it as an intangible property rather than an investment, meaning that you should not recognize unrealized gains and losses in your book, which sounds really strange and unintuitive. So just make sure that your accountants are able to record this in your books and are able to follow the best practices as known today. And also thinking about best practices as they change and evolve. If an intermediary 501c3 converts the donations into cash, and sends you the cash donation, so like a DAF or every.org, then you would just record it as a cash donation. So if you want to simplify the processes, that's something to consider too. And then furthermore, more IRS reporting requirements. First, the written acknowledgement, so the tax receipt, it should have language that's similar to in-kind donations. So if someone donates 5 Bitcoin, you would just put 5 BTC and you would not report a dollar amount. And then you would need to record these in your 990, and then you would also want to file Form 80 to 82 and send out the filled out form to the donor according to IRS guidelines, and then sign any Form 80 to 83 that a donor may send to you. Note that for crypto donations processor or like doing it yourself, wallet, brokerage, you would be liable for all of these reporting requirements. If you use an intermediary 501c3, then you don't have to deal with any of this because you're receiving cash grants at the end of the day. All right, so all in all, depending on the method you choose for receiving and holding, just make sure that you have security and financial controls in place to make sure that you're minimizing the risks around cryptocurrency. And just so you know that it's difficult to recover cryptocurrency that has been sent out than it is for cash, because there are no intermediaries that are facilitating the refunds, for instance. Okay, so that was a lot. And I know that there's a lot of questions coming in. I'll save it for the end. So for those of you who are thinking, this is super cool, I don't have time for this. Is this one more item that I need to track and manage? And clearly there's a lot of things to consider. And I just wanted to share the nonprofit that I'm part of, every.org. And every.org's mission is to help simplify technology like cryptocurrency for nonprofits. So we are a intermediary 501c3, and to revisit the considerations and risks, an intermediary 501c3 simplifies the process. So for instance, the volatility, it'll sell and auto convert. And for receipting, regulations, accounting, and reporting, nonprofits receive cash and never have to touch crypto. So this simplifies all of these things because the crypto donations are made out to the intermediary, converted, and then granted in cash to your organization. So if you have received donor advised fund donations, it's exactly like that. And thus the intermediary is responsible for keeping up with the regulations, the accounting, the reporting, and giving out the tax receipts to the original donor. But of course, for technically savvy organizations that want to have their own wallet and have custody over the crypto, then we might not be a right fit. But for nonprofits who want to benefit from crypto easily at a high level, every.org could be an option. And if you are interested in learning more, feel free to go to every.org/crypto. And you can schedule a free demo sessions. There's also a lot of information there about frequently asked questions. And every.org's mission as a nonprofit is to build an accessible giving infrastructure to help every person and organization use technology for good, no matter how big your organization is, no matter how tech savvy your organization is. We want to provide a turnkey solution for crypto. So I just wanted to share that. And if you want to have more information about the operational aspects, I have an informational blog series that's written by my team that covers all of these in more detail. So thank you everyone for your attention. I know that that was a lot, and I'm really happy to delve into the questions. So let's see. Yeah, so Melissa asked, are all cryptocurrency mined in the same way? Do all have the same environmental impact to mine? This is such a great question. I know that it is an extremely common consideration that you want to make, especially if your organization is an environmental organization. So short answer is no, not all cryptocurrency are mined in the same way. And no, they do not have the same environmental impact to mine. So many current cryptocurrencies that are popular today, most notably Bitcoin, they use a lot of electricity because they use for their consensus algorithm what's called proof of work mining. So people around the world, they maintain the ledger and they use basically the built into how the cryptocurrency works is that they kind of expend energy in order to keep the security of the cryptocurrency. But at scale, it hurts the environment because they are using sort of a lot of electricity. And the higher the price of the coin, the more people want to mine it. So people want to, benefit from that by mining and expending electricity. So because of the environmental impact of Bitcoin, there is, I guess, a lot of lashback against cryptocurrency. But as you pointed out, not all cryptocurrencies are like that. There are proof of stake consensus algorithms, there's hybrid algorithms, proof of activity algorithms. So those don't have the same issues around environmental impact as Bitcoin and other proof of work cryptocurrencies. And what we tell environmental nonprofits is, and nonprofits in general, is that there's a lot of people that have already made a lot of money from cryptocurrencies that are proof of work, and they want a way to divest from it. So I think nonprofits have the best positioning to give that outlet to someone who's made some wealth. And then instead of investing in it, so depending on your nonprofit, Every.org does not invest into cryptocurrency. We sell it immediately. So we're actually taking away from the valuation of the pool, I guess. So I think that if your organization is intentional about the way that you are accepting crypto, which crypto are you accepting, and also just telling people that, like you could divest away from Bitcoin. So you could sell it, and we'll sell it immediately. We'll liquidate it into USD and use it toward our mission. So I think that's something very important to consider. Sorry if that was a little long-winded, but I think it's an important question to address. The next question was, what percentage of the gift does Every.org take in the transaction? We take 0%. So the only percentage that is taken out is in the conversion that's charged by the brokerage. So the exchange we use is Coinbase, and we chose them because they are, compliant with all of the regulations that are happening. They are very forward and looking into all of the regulations involved. Currently they charge a 1% flat fee, so that will be taken out of the gift.
So I guess the first question that we have is, are some cryptocurrencies more speculative than others? Does dealing in cryptocurrency open your organization up to malicious software and virus risks as well?
Yes. So one, yes, some cryptocurrencies are more speculative. Actually, most cryptocurrencies are very speculative, and it's a matter of like what your organization believes in, if you want to invest into it. And I think this is something that you should discuss with your board, because if you are investing into cryptocurrency, then that's something you want to address with the board and understand what you're getting yourself into. However, if you're just trying to accept it as another donation mechanism, all you care about is the valuation of cryptocurrency right now. In terms of viruses and whatnot, I don't think there's any more, but there is a lot of scams that are trying to be like done in crypto. So your organization should train up whoever has access to your cryptocurrency wallet, or use a custodial wallet so that you don't have to worry about it as much.
All right. So the next question that I'd like to put up is, what are the legal issues associated with the nonprofit accepting cryptocurrency? What policies do we need to have in place to accept cryptocurrency? Are there any legal implications or guidelines that we need to follow?
Yes, so there are legal implications, just as any other type of donations that you accept, and just making sure that you are abiding by all of the regulations. The tricky part with cryptocurrency is that it's evolving. So if you use a intermediary 501c3, then the intermediary 501c3 is responsible for following those regulations and keeping up. And your nonprofit just could accept the cash grant at the end of the day. And the main things are sort of like following the IRS guidelines of how to report, how to account for, and how to, so the form AB 282 is the major one. And then I think like the policies that you should have in place if you're accepting crypto directly is the gift acceptance policy, making sure that it covers it, investment policies, and when to liquidate it. I think I covered this a bit in my slides, so hopefully that answers it.
How do I attract potential cryptocurrency donors to my website?
So I think, as I mentioned in the first section, the demographics is if you have donors who are in the 25 to 44 range, they may already have crypto. Oftentimes, nonprofits, their first crypto donations on every.org are from their just general donor audience. So I think that you'd be surprised at how many people have crypto today and are getting crypto, and it's extremely tax incentivized. So I think I forgot to cover this, but for the donors right now, it's incentivized just as stock donations are, in that if I bought Bitcoin at $5, I know this is not a realistic example. If I bought Bitcoin at $5 and now it's like $100, then I don't have to recognize, if I donate the $100 Bitcoin or Bitcoin to nonprofit, then I don't have to recognize the capital gains that I've had in my taxes. So that $95 that you would normally have to pay capital gains tax on, then you don't have to. And it's extremely tax incentivized in that way, same as stocks. And then if you have held it for a long time, which is over a year, then you might be able to deduct for the full fair market value. So I can write it as $100 for my deduction purposes. So this is something that each person will have to consult with their tax advisor on. But right now, the crypto donations, because they are considered to be in-kind gifts, similar to stocks, they're extremely tax incentivized. So if you educate your donors, and if you know enough to educate your donors that these are the options available, and you might be able to benefit a lot from the tax advantages, then that might also be another way that you could get people to donate more in crypto. And then I think like for new crypto audiences, crypto people generally are on Twitter. So if you have a Twitter following, I think that will help a lot. So I think overall, look to your own donor base first. There's a lot of people that have crypto today.
Thank you so much, Tina. I think this answer of yours covered a lot of other questions as well, but we have one more question from before the webinar started. So one of our attendees have asked that I'd be interested in how cryptocurrency could be used to send emergency funds to activists on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, we see that it's happening today with Ukraine, and there's a lot of cool crypto projects that are happening. I think that because the transactions are much quicker, it's easier to send money to people on the ground. Of course, like this wouldn't be through a nonprofit structure in most cases. And there's just a lot of cool crypto and blockchain-based projects out there in the social impact space. One example being the UN's World Food Program. They handle payments for food aid for refugees, for instance, like the Syrian refugees in Jordan, and they've helped hundreds of thousands of people around the world through a blockchain-based project. Yeah, so it's very fast. So I do think there's a lot of potential there. It's just, is there infrastructure in place for them to spend that money or use that money effectively on the ground? I'll kind of filter through. So some people are asking about funding about every.org. We're funded by philanthropists such as the Gates Foundation and camp.org. NFT donations. So NFTs are non-fungible tokens. Essentially, a lot of artists are using NFTs to make donations these days. And baked into the NFT or artwork, there is some percentage that is donated often to charity. So I think this is a huge gray area right now. So you should definitely get legal counsel if you're accepting donations of NFT directly. What I've seen across and for the NFT sales that we've facilitated is that there's a portion that is donated. So it's just the portion that is donated that is considered the donation, not the NFT itself.
Great, thank you so much. And I think for all the attendees, we'll be sharing across the deck of this webinar, the entire recording of this webinar, and alongside we'll share a link where you can book a demo session with every.org and try to understand more personalized ways and customized ways for your nonprofit organizations on crypto, accepting the crypto donations. And so I'll be sharing here the links to Goodera's website as well, where you can reach out and become a partner with us so that it becomes more and more easier for you to have an access to more such kind of resources, much more such kind of knowledge sessions that we consistently organize. And for nonprofit organizations, all our services are absolutely free of cost from Goodera, and you just have to email it to us. Our team will get in touch with you, and my colleague here will share our website link, and we have a dedicated exclusive nonprofits group on Facebook, which is called Karma Community for Nonprofits. I think you can definitely join that group and get some access to some great and amazing resources, knowledge resources for nonprofits, which we consistently share weekly, every week.
Okay, one question was, how long has your organization been dealing with crypto? What are some examples of failures with crypto? We started our crypto donation feature. We launched it last year in 2021. And since then, it's become our most popular method of donating on every.org. So far, since launching in 2020, we've raised over 14 million for nonprofits. 30% has been from crypto. So that's like around 4 million. And it's our fastest growing and most popular donation method. And the average gift size today is slightly over $7,000 per gift of crypto. And then, is cryptocurrency always converted to cash, or can it be used to purchase capital assets? There are certain places that are accepting crypto. Still, crypto is one of those things that most shops aren't accepting these days. And I do think like you'll see changes. I know that Tesla at some point was accepting cryptocurrency in a limited basis. So that really depends on where you're trying to spend it, I guess. But through every.org, it'll just be converted to cash. What is the biggest challenge for an organization in making the decision whether or not to accept crypto? And if you mean crypto directly, there's a lot of risks and considerations, as we covered in this slide and this presentation. So I think just going through each of those risks and seeing if it's worth it for you. I think for an intermediary 501c3, there's pretty little regulation risk in that regard. I think, one thing that I wanted to mention is that Coinbase and most of the regulated exchanges out there, they will do KYC and just make sure that it's going through like it, or they're keeping up with their regulations on their end. And as a nonprofit, I think you want to be careful for like screening purposes. So for larger donations with crypto on every.org, over $50,000, for instance, like we check against the OFAC SDN list, block persons list. There's also a list of known crypto digital currency addresses that are associated with different things. So I think that having some policies in place for the examination of the source would be good. Let's see. Okay, I think that's it for the Q&A.
Yeah, that's it.
And then let's see. Does a nonprofit need to be listed on Geister or Charity Navigator for every.org? If you're considering that, no. But that's kind of like, we use the IRS database as our source of truth. So you could contact support at every.org if you want to explore that. What are the pros and cons between every.org and Giving Block or a similar company? You are free and they have costs. Why would I want to use them other than the ownership of the crypto? Ownership of crypto is a major aspect. And I think like, depending on the nonprofit, how you want the donation experience to look like might be a big factor too. And there is a blog post, I believe Fran linked it at some point, that covers some of those details in a more detailed fashion. And also every.org doesn't provide necessarily like fundraising consulting. So some of those other companies, they provide marketing consulting. So that would be separate. We could give you tips, but we can't necessarily help you craft the story for yourself.
I think we have one last question. Are there any foundations donating crypto? This question has been asked by Vasundhara from India Home.
Yeah, I am not aware of any foundations that have donated crypto. There's a lot of crypto groups that are donating crypto. So, like, well, I guess it was like Ethereum, for instance, their founder Vitalik Buterin donated over $1 billion in 2021. And then I think that, typically it's crypto groups that are donating large chunks of crypto. One other example is the Orca DEX. So they are a DEX from the top of one of the cryptocurrencies called Solana. So they make sure that into their system, like they fundraise for environmental organizations. And they're an example of a proof of stake cryptocurrency. So they make sure that they're trying to offset for any cryptocurrencies that have an environmental footprint by having their kind of crypto holders voting on the environmental organization to support, for instance. So there's a lot of cool crypto projects out there that are donating to charity as well.
Thank you so much, Tina. I think that was very, very insightful for us, for all of us, I believe, and we have received tremendous poll results as well. But I would also request all of who are present right now, please go on the poll and please share your opinion as well, because that helps us guide in curating more such kind of content and knowledge sessions for you. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. I think Tina has been great so far, and it has been a privilege to get every.org on board with us. And we have a lot of content and a lot of such sessions coming up. So please stay tuned. I think we'll keep you updated through our newsletters and other communications as well. And like I said, all of you can check out our websites to learn more about us. And definitely join the Karma community for nonprofits, because it's an exclusive nonprofit group on Facebook, which helps a lot of nonprofits getting access to some free resources that are out there, but people are not aware about them. So I think there is a lot to share for all of the nonprofits that are present and that are doing some great work. And yes, thank you so much for joining. So I think that would be it. Tina, do you have any last words?
Sorry, no, I do not. But thank you everyone for your attention. I know that some parts of this could be very heavy. So thank you so much for engaging with cryptocurrency and being willing to learn more about cryptocurrency. I think that there's a tremendous potential for cryptocurrency to help bring more money into the nonprofit sector. So please visit every.org/crypto if you want to learn more about crypto through every.org. And you could also reach out to our team there too. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. And that would be it. We'll take it around.